Good morning, Starshines. My name is DH, my pronouns are they, them, and I play cozy games. And I knit and crochet and do a bit of bullet journaling, and some other stuff too. Every Monday evening on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/thecozydh, is our weekly crafty chat. Bring your project, bring something to stay hydrated with, but most importantly, just bring yourself. Each week, I'll post highlights from the stream, any tips I give, or just show off what I'm working on. To see more and join the conversation, follow me on Twitch to know when Crafty Chat goes live, and then join us. I can't wait to see ya. My tea is still steeping. I like it. I've found that I like it really strong. So, get rid of that tea bag. So, today's stream, we are not knitting. We are doing a little bit of something different. So it is May 29th, which means it is 2 days, however you want to count it, before the end of the month. So it is time for me to set up my bullet journal for June. Our bullet journal. This is what we're doing today. It is just before the start of June. It's time for me to set up my bullet journals. I don't do a lot of creative journaling or the really fancy bullet journal setups for my weeklies, but I do monthly setups in each of these notebooks. I have 4 notebooks here. So I do a monthly setup in each of these, and then that's just like a monthly spread that I will update as the month goes on, or after the month is over. Like some of them, my reading journal, for example, that's this one, I will do the monthly wrap up after the end of the month. I don't think I'm going to finish another book by the end of the month, but who knows? I could get really into the Guardian of Isis and okay, so what I like to do is I'll do a monthly spread. You can see I definitely used my monthly calendar for May. So I'll do a monthly spread. The spreads are different for every book depending on what I use the book for, but the theme is always the same. So May for all of my books was Star Wars because of Star Wars. Now I was thinking that I would do some kind of pride spread for this was my crafting journal, which you've seen a couple of times now. I was thinking I would do a pride spread for June, but back in March, this was April, by the way, it was a Five Nights at Freddy's theme. Back in March, I did this like rainbow animals, pastel rainbow animals theme. So I don't really want to do another rainbow theme quite so soon. So we're going to do something a little bit different. It's still going to be a little bit queer. I've got 2 inspirations this month. My first inspiration is Litha, which is in the Pagan Wheel of the Year. It's like the beginning of summer. It's June 24th this year. So that's one of my inspirations, Will. And then the other inspiration is we're going to talk about queer elders. So my other inspiration is kind of Blue Alcott, just that general vibe of the Little Women, 8 Cousins style of book. That's the general aesthetic we're going with. So yeah, we're gonna get started. I actually don't know where to start today. I was trying to think, like, do I have a usual way that I do this? Do I have a book that I usually start with? And the answer is no. I kind of just start wherever. I'm just gonna move these out of the way, and we'll see our materials today. So I don't have a lot of money for bullet journaling supplies. and I don't think a lot of money in order to bullet journal and stuff that's really lovely. I think that you can make a lot of really cool stuff with not a lot of supplies. So what we're doing, we have my Papermate Flare collection. For our felt tip pen, I have many colors, so we'll pick out a couple of colors there. I've got that. I grabbed a few rolls of washi tape. Don't know if I'm gonna end up using these, but you can kind of see the like color palette that I'm gonna be going for. That like antique yellow and sepia tone, a little bit of like pale green, maybe. I usually pull out washi tapes that match my theme and then completely and utterly forget to use them. So I've got that. Ages ago, off of AliExpress, I ordered one of their packs of washi tape stickers. So you've probably seen these all over AliExpress. But I just pulled out a bunch of flowers, plants. These are going to be nice for both Litha and also the antique feel that we're going for. That's going to be our other motif is the antique flowers. And then I just have some random scraps of scrapbooking paper. So scrapbook paper can tend to be quite expensive if you get a pad of it. So once I work through a pad, I keep working through it until it's absolutely toast. These little squares I actually got at the dollar store. It was like a pack of like 24 for $1 or something. Really good. There's a dollar store near us that actually has an entire scrapbook section, which is interesting. We're gonna use some of these, and then this is all from a paper pad that I got at Michael's when I worked there, so that would have been like 4 years ago. Yeah, we're going for that antique Lou Alcott type vibe. So if you're not familiar, Lou Alcott, you might know as Louise May Alcott, the author of Little Women and Joe's Boys and 8 Cousins and A Rose in Bloom. But it has come to light kind of recently through reading his letters and interactions that he had with people, that he really felt uncomfortable with femininity and his identity as a woman, and preferred to be called Lou, and treated himself as a man wherever he could. So there has been kind of a movement to reclaim Lou Alcott as a queer elder, and I am 100% behind this. So that is why that's kind of the inspiration for Pride Month, is the Lou Alcott connection. Just something to honor him. I am going to be reading Little Women as the classic book of the month, classic book club book of the month pick for June, which I've actually never read Little Women, because I got about like 2 chapters in and I was also having gender feels when I read it, even though I didn't know I was having gender feels. And yeah. So I've never actually read the whole book. I do have a copy of 8 Cousins, which is slightly less well known, by Lou, and I adored it, like absolutely adored it. The last material we have is my Super Tips. This is just the box of 50 Crayola Super Tips. I use these suckers for everything. They are fantastic. They are cheap. I have lost more than a few of them. So the first thing I think I'm going to do is I'm going to pick out like a palette that we're going to use, and we're just going to repeat that palette. I think I'm going to go for some like golds and yellows, and I need a dark color, so let's go for this dark brown. I like that. And then kind of fuse with it. Yeah, I think I'm liking that. Maybe, do we want a green to kind of brighten it up? Yeah, I think so. Okay. I've never done a bullet journaling stream before. I mean, I've only been streaming for a month and a week, but there's a lot of things I haven't done before. So I'm still kind of like figuring out how I want to do this. So yeah, let me show you May's spread. So my spreads, like I said, they aren't super detailed or fancy. I use line journals mostly, and I try to keep them simple so that I'll actually use them. This is my reading journal, so I will have what books I'm starting the month reading, what is on my TBR, so what I want to read that month. Spoiler, I haven't read any of these books. What I've actually read, and then, so these sections I'll fill out at the actual end of the month, so I'm giving myself a couple more days to finish another book. So yeah, so these sections I'll fill out. I've got what I actually read, the number of books read, the highest rated book, the lowest rated book. I rate them all out of 5. The longest book in terms of pages, the shortest, the oldest book that was published, and then the newest book that was published. So I can show you an older spread. This was April. So I only read 2 books in April, unfortunately. One of them ended up being a lot longer and a lot heavier than I thought it was going to be, and I needed kind of like an emotional break from reading for like 2 weeks after finishing it. So I read 2 books. My highest rated was Black Leopard Red Wolf, which I think was 4.5 stars. The lowest rated was The Silver Eyes, which was 4 stars, so lowest rated is not very low in this case. And it's the same 2 books because I only read 2 of them. The longest was Black Leopard, the shortest was Silver Eyes, the newest was Black Leopard, and the oldest was Silver Eyes. It does get more interesting, like in January here, I read 6 books. And I also tracked the number of pages I read. I stopped doing that because it felt a little bit too prescriptive. Like I had to keep track of too many things instead of just enjoying what I was reading. So I stopped doing that. I also stopped doing whatever this calendar thing was supposed to be. And now I just keep it more like the lists. So I'm gonna swap over to our first blank spread here. So I have a large stash of notebooks, but I'm actually running out of the size of notebooks that I prefer, which is this kind of book size. This book is a very special one. It's a novel journal. It's the J.M. Barrie one. It says, which of these adventures shall we choose, J.M. Barrie? And I don't know if you can see it, because from this distance, the lines just look like light purple lines. So I'm going to see how close the camera can focus on it, which is not very. But this is actually the full text of Peter Pan. The lines themselves are the full text of Peter Pan. So I thought that was very appropriate for a reading journal. Right, okay, so I think we're going to do the title on this side. I did do some test runs of titling and lettering. I do all the lettering myself, so sometimes I'll just sometimes I will just play with like what I want the lettering to look like before I actually write it in, and then I'll use the same one for all of them. So like once I actually get going, I can set up all 4 journals in pretty short order. So I think I'm gonna do something that's like a serif with these like thicker areas. And then something like this. So something like that, and then maybe we'll take our gold and just do some cross-hatching. Do I like that or the orange more? No, I think the orange blends too much in with the brown, so we'll do the gold. So that's going to be our titling. Just going to kind of lay these out to see. I think I'm going to use the roses for this one because of the whole rose and bloom theme. Some roses. Those aren't roses. I had another rose in here, didn't I? It's three. So if I have, let's do like that, or kind of like the idea of this coming down, or even across the top like that, and then down the bottom here. So I want to do some like layering scrapbooky effects. So let's take this and maybe the hearts. Okay, so I'm gonna do my ratings on this side. Okay, so I'm just tearing this paper at a bit of an angle. Don't know how that came across on the audio. I'm sure it was horrendous. So we're gonna do that, and then gonna do the same thing with this one, but like a little bit smaller. Oh yeah, I like that effect. So yeah, the reading journal is a pretty new thing for me. I started it in January of this year. This will be the 6-month in it. I'm one of those people who used to be a voracious reader when I was a kid, like, you know, just stacks of books from the library at a time, blew through them all in no time flat, and then stopped reading completely when I became an adult. So I'm really trying to get back into it. And I mean, the amount of stuff available to us is just unreal. I found it really difficult to get back into reading. I kind of had to push myself out of, like, basically reading anything published after the 90s. Because I had this, like, this really weird mental block about, like, new authors and authors who aren't, like, established. Like, who do you think you are that you have a novel that I should read? It was the weirdest mental block. And it, like, it really bugged me, and I couldn't figure out for the longest time, like, where it was coming from or why it was bothering me so. But I'm glad I figured it out, because I have discovered some wonderful new authors and new stories and just new everything in the last 6 months. I'm actually on a unintentional queer readathon, where the last 3 books I've read have not been the last 3 books that I've read have had accidental queer protagonists. Didn't mean to do that at all. But it happened, and I'm really happy about it. I'm happy that, like, that's something that can happen to me accidentally. I don't have to go looking for it anymore. It's just there. So this month I've only read 2 books this month. I read Legends and Lattes, which is it was really cute, fluffy kind of fantasy, someone's D&D campaign came to life type novel. Super cute. Took me, I think I read it in 2 sittings. I started reading it one night, and then I took it to the park the next day and read the rest of it. It was really good. Like, I would highly recommend it. I'm really glad I read it. It took me no time at all because it was just so enjoyable. And I love the message of, like, you're not what people think you are. You don't have to be what people think you are. So I appreciated that message. So I read Legends and Mates, which was really a cute, fluffy, fast read. And then I read She is a Haunting. I cannot pronounce the author's name, but it's a really good, like, horror book about, it has to do with kind of like immigrant identity and not feeling at home in America, but not feeling at home in, well, Vietnam, because that's where the character's family is from. And it's kind of like, it's a horror book, it's supernatural, it was very, very good. Very creepy. If you've got a thing about bugs, I would not recommend it, but if you're okay with bugs, I would say give it a shot. That's She is a Haunting. Okay, so that's like pretty much it for the setup. I'm just going to do the headings. Alright. Okay, so we have our first spread out of 4 done. I think that's a good start. I've got stickers and stuff all over me now. Looking cute. I like it. Alright, so that is the reading journal done. I'm gonna set that aside. Let's do the crafting journal next. So this is my crafting log. This is my favorite notebook because I'm a huge Hocus Pocus nerd. Like, huge Hocus Pocus nerd. So I had to buy this notebook as soon as I saw it. It isn't a great notebook for keeping logs in because, as you can see, the pages are quite dark and they have this very dark watermark on them. But I love it so much I make it work. So here's May's setup. I usually do the title. I'll have my current works in progress. And then I will have a goals section. And I used to have a stash section showing like what I've used and what I'm working on using up. But I decided to shift that to my 23 and 23 goal. So my goal is to finish 23 projects in 2023, and starting with my biggest projects first. So with these 2, I will have finished 9 out of 23 projects. So I think I'm just going to keep this up as a little tracker in June's spread, that by the end of the month I will hopefully have finished 10, maybe 11, but probably 10. I was very good. You can see that I didn't cast on any new projects because what is mainly in this book is project pages. So I haven't passed on any new projects in the month of May. So the next page over is going to be June setup. I'm very pleased with myself. That is very unusual. So since we've already got this kind of sepia toned background, I think I'm going to go a little bit brighter in the colors of my flowers and the colors of my paper. I like these purples. I think this is the same purple. Yeah. The bright red. Oh, this one is nice too. I like that. The tulips. And the yellow daffodils. So I'm just pulling out some possible papers that we can use. This green one might be good. It's you can't really see it, but it's a vintage sewing pattern, so that would work well for my crafting journal. So I think this whole side is going to be whips, and then I'm going to do the title here, my 23 and 23 here, and then goals up here. I think that's how we're going to do it. So maybe I'm just going to do like a rip all the way in this corner and do the June on top of this paper. Well, I'm here and my can access some external knowledge if you have any questions. Because that is one thing that I would like to do for these crafting nights, is have them be like an experience sharing moment. Luckily, we're going to be using some washi tape, so that should help hold it down a little bit. Maybe I'll do some like right along the spine here. Yeah. Do a nice long piece of washi tape. I said we'll do a nice long piece of washi tape. This tape is so pretty, but it is not cooperating with me today. I'm sure this is a terrible idea, putting it right in the crease, but I'm trying to get some of these edges to be covered. Also, it looks cute. So maybe we'll do our blue ones like this, and I'll move that washi tape. And then I can just do whips right there. And we'll do this one bridging that, and this one bridging that. What do we think of that? I think this one might not even be necessary. Yeah, I think this one is too much. Oh no, this was where I was going to put my 23 and 23. Oh. Do a little bit of flour. A little bit of flour. And I can still do my 23 and 23 there. Alright, time for our titles. So I used the same, like, font for everything. I'm just gonna do it backwards from this one so that I don't run out of... I don't play lettering chicken, as I've heard one YouTuber describe it. I've also been assiduously checking that I'm actually titling it with the right month. Because that is also something that runs into bullet journalists. June, lovely. Alright, so we want to do... This is going to be goals. So I'm just going to title it right in here. Looks like it needs an extra something. Yeah. And then over here is our whips. And then our 23 and 23 is going to be right here. So I'm just going to do it right on top of the June title because it is part of the goals. Let's do out of 23. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do for this spread is I'm going to fill out my whip list. My goals I'll fill out a little bit later, even though I'm pretty sure I know what they are for this month. So what I usually do for my whip list is I start at the bottom and work my way up, because I have like 16 of them. So we're going to do Lockwood. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, alright. So in this top section, I'm going to do Granny's for my sister. And then we're doing vintage. Innovation socks. And then I actually kind of ran out of room. Good guys. Below. Okay, so the very last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take our palette of colors and I'm just going to add a few dots here. So, looks like I hecked up a little bit there, but that's okay. That's fine. No one will notice. Who's gonna notice? Okay, so that is our crafting spread for the month of June. I'm really happy with how that turned out.
That's it for the video. If you like the content, please like the video. Subscribe for more cozy gaming and crafting highlights. If you want to see more, join the community on twitch.tv/thecozydh. Or check out our Discord. Thanks for watching, and keep twinkling below, Starshine.